air access on board a medical evacuation flight, an emergency room in the sky, getting the most critically injured out of Gaza. That plane bringing those patients here to Doha, where we are tonight, with a look inside that extraordinary way out of a war zone. The difficult journey the family left behind. So a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear, and the moments of hope. Plus, Canada had the worst air quality in North America for the first time, more polluted than the U.S.
It's like there's an elephant sitting on my chest.
Boy, this year could be even worse. And after weeks of speculation and wild conspiracy theories, the Princess of Wales is spotted in public.
She's healthy and hopefully back serving us.
But will this stop the rumor mill?
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault in Doha.
Thank you for joining us. We are coming to you tonight from Qatar, where intense talks aimed at reaching a ceasefire in Gaza have been happening. Qatari officials say they are cautiously optimistic, but that optimism comes amid new accusations. The United Nations Human Rights Chief says Israel may be using starvation as a tactic, holding back aid with restrictions so severe that it could amount to a war crime. Israel firmly denies that allegation, but one thing that is undeniable, the scale at which starvation is taking hold in Gaza and the desperate need for aid that isn't being met. The World Food Programme estimates 300 trucks are required each day just to cover the basic necessities. Its delivery into Gaza on Sunday, just 18 truckloads. That as half the population has completely exhausted their food supplies. Amid the hunger and the ceasefire talks, there is more pressure from world leaders urging Israel not to engage in a ground offensive in the southern city of Rafah. But as Margaret Evans shows us from Jerusalem tonight, Israel's prime minister remains defiant and determined.
Jabalia, northern Gaza. This is the face of famine hammering at the gate. There is no room for dignity here. We came to line up, but they threw us out, says Musab al-Masri. There's not enough for the camp. One plate of flour isn't enough. People are already dying of starvation in northern Gaza, according to a new report by the UN's top food insecurity watchdog. They say famine could be declared at any moment unless there's an urgent change of course.
The extent of Israel's continued restrictions on the entry of aid into Gaza, together with the manner in which it continues to conduct hostilities, may amount to the use of starvation as a method of war, which is a war crime.
Israel blames Hamas and aid agencies themselves, but there's little evidence of Israel's recent pledge to flood Gaza with aid. The U.S. Secretary of State is also sounding the alarm.
100% of the population in Gaza is at severe levels of acute food insecurity. That's the first time an entire population has been so classified.
In Rafah, further south, people are bracing themselves for a looming Israeli ground invasion. Concerns over the fate of more than 1 million people sheltering there prompted the U.S. President Joe Biden to summon an Israeli delegation to Washington to discuss alternatives. The Israeli Prime Minister agreed, but he's also told Israeli legislators he's determined to move ahead with Rafah. We have an argument with the Americans regarding the need to enter Rafah, he says, not regarding the need to eliminate Hamas. There is already grief strong enough to pierce hearts in Rafah, another family in mourning after an Israeli airstrike overnight. The U.S., Europe, and the whole world support Israel with weapons, says Ibrahim Jargoon, displaced from Gaza City. They mock us and send 4 or 5 airdrops just to save face.
So, Margaret, that push for Israel's allies to apply more pressure is getting louder yet again.
That's right, Adrian. And, you know, there's real consternation here amongst Palestinians. They want to know why the United States isn't putting more pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to open up the floodgates, given these dire warnings. They want to know why the world isn't putting more pressure. And for Israelis, they're worried, especially the families of hostages still being held. They're worried that the push by the Israeli government to go ahead with this Rafah plan is simply going to put their loved ones in more danger, and especially now at this very delicate stage of hostage negotiations again taking place.
All right, CBC News senior international correspondent Margaret Evans in Jerusalem tonight. Back here in Doha, some Palestinians who were severely injured in Gaza are receiving treatment tonight after an emergency evacuation flight sponsored by Qatar.
After they heard the takeoff sound of this one collapsed because they remember the attacks during when they were in Gaza.
About 24 patients were on that plane, along with members of their family, all leaving their homes and their loved ones, unsure what the future holds or whether they will ever be able to return to Gaza. We were also on that plane speaking with people about what happened to them in Gaza, what it took to get out, just to get to Egypt so that they could board that evacuation flight. We'll introduce you to them in a North American exclusive in about 20 minutes. But for now, let's bring in Asha Tomlinson. And Asha, the war here in the Middle East is also clearly causing some deep political divisions in Ottawa.
That's right, Adrian. That division comes from within the Liberal Party after 3 MPs voted against an NDP motion calling for the recognition of a Palestinian statehood. That language was scaled back by the Liberals to say Canada will work towards the establishment of the state of Palestine as part of a negotiated 2-state solution. But today, Anthony Housefather says it left him feeling isolated in caucus.
When my party members got up and cheered and gave a standing ovation to Heather McPherson and the NDP, I started reflecting as to whether or not I belonged.
Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly is defending her party, adding, while the motion was non-binding, the government plans to follow through.
We've worked very hard to make sure that we could get to a text where we could abide by it.
Other aspects of the motion include calling on Hamas to release all remaining hostages and lay down its arms, though it also calls for Canada to stop selling arms to Israel. Now to a concerning new report tonight on Canadian air quality. Last year, our air was ranked more polluted than the U.S. for the first time ever. You'll remember why. Skies choked with wildfire smoke. And between Canada and the U.S., 14 of the 15 most polluted cities were in this country. Fort McMurray was the worst, followed by Peace River, Alberta, and Yellowknife. Anand Ram looks at the challenges ahead, especially for those with health issues.
Okay, so this is my emergency kit.
Peyton Knight is ready for most days.
This is my inhaler. This is my aero chamber, and this is my EpiPen.
Yeah. There's also an instruction card if someone found the 12-year-old unresponsive. But even for the ever-prepared Peyton, who lives with complex asthma and allergies, last year's wildfire smoke was too much.
It just reeked. When it's too smoky outside, it's like there's an elephant sitting on my chest.
Those sunless, choked skies, moving far beyond our borders, set the country behind in new global rankings by IQ Air, an air quality tech company. Of the most polluted countries last year, Canada did worse than the U.S. and double World Health Organization standards.
Previous years, Canada has the cleanest air quality in all of North America, and this year we saw just the exact opposite.
The report measured levels of PM 2.5, a pollutant that can spew out from wildfires, travel deep into lung tissue, and can cause breathing, heart, and cognitive problems.
There's no safe amount of particulate matter to inhale.
For some of the most vulnerable, like children, it's driving calls for upgrading air quality where they spend most of their time.
Schools as clean air shelters have actually been proposed in many countries because it keeps your child population healthy, and it also serves as this extra resource for communities.
Canada's warmest winter ever could set up a repeat of last year, and that may keep Peyton from an upcoming outdoor family wedding.
If it's too smoky, then she doesn't get to go. Something that everybody looks forward to, like going to their auntie's wedding and being a part of that, is now, because of our current climates, has turned into something kind of nerve-wracking.
Cold calculations as our warming climate feeds the conditions for longer and stronger wildfires. Anand Ram, CBC News, Toronto.
Today marks the start of spring, but for many around the world, the warm weather came early this year. That may seem appealing on the surface, but as Susan Ormiston explains, the extreme temperatures could mean big trouble for the planet and some of its smallest creatures.
I would like to see the whole box full of bees.
If you're a honeybee, you like warmth.
And they're clustered together there to conserve the heat.
The wildly mild winter could be a good thing, but not when temperatures swing, hovering near 0 degrees this week in Guelph, way down from last week's spring spike over 20 degrees.
If it's really warm, they almost get tricked into building up the colony strength too early. And then when we get cold weather like this, it damages the colony. It's kind of like fruit trees going into bloom and then having cold weather can damage the fruit tree.
Unusual early heat, ocean warmth still breaking records, Antarctic ice melting, all indicators, says the world's meteorological organization.
The year 2023 set new records for every single climate indicator.
On this, the first day of spring, 2024 is shaping up warmer, but
we cannot be completely certain about what will happen at the end of 2024.
Scientists do predict this year will join a 9-year streak of the world's warmest years. What's certain, it won't be a new normal.
We haven't cut our emissions anything like enough to stabilize temperatures at this new normal, right? So that means that it's going to keep on going.
Globally, the WMO is sending a red alert.
We should tackle this all together. Otherwise, we are all lost.
Even beekeepers are having to adapt.
In there, we can create a winter that's the same every year.
Helping weakened hives inside, no bright light.
Some of them are indoors, some of them are outdoors. This spreads the risk out.
To keep mortality down, 20% of its bees didn't survive the winter, possibly a parasite.
That's our number one problem, and it is exacerbated by climate change.
Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Guelph.
A retired Quebec judge says he believes allegations of sexual abuse made against a former Nunavut priest are true. While not a legal finding, the conclusion is part of a report into the actions of Johannes Revoir. Juanita Taylor now with the reaction.
It's been more than 50 years since Johannes Revoir worked in Nunavut as a priest, accused of sexually abusing at least 6 children.
It is a cause for shame for me and for our order.
In a new report, retired Quebec Superior Court Judge Andre Denis says he believes the allegations are true. It was commissioned by the Canadian and French Oblates, an order of missionaries with the Catholic Church, to investigate the allegations and to examine how sexual abuse complaints are handled. Denis also found that the church didn't help Revoir escape justice in Canada when he fled to France in 1993.
Some witnesses still think that there was a covering up. Others said, no, I think that the church did good things and Revoir was the only bad guy.
Marius Tungelik was one of Revoir's alleged victims. He died in 2012. His daughter Tanya said she had mixed feelings after reading the report.
He was hired by the Oblates to do this investigation or this report. So of course he's gonna, protect the church.
Denis interviewed Revoir, saying he doesn't believe his testimony. Denis also interviewed Revoir's alleged victims, including Steve Mopsalak, who was part of a delegation who traveled to France in 2022 to put pressure on the French government to extradite Revoir to Canada and face sexual assault charges.
I really hope that the Department of Protectors in France will start doing something about this so that justice will be done.
Denis' report is not a legal finding of Revoir's guilt. CBC News has reached out to Revoir's lawyer but has not received a response. Revoir continues to maintain his innocence. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A stream of mourners offered their condolences today as Brian Mulroney laid in state. Dignitaries, former colleagues, and members of the public lined up to pause at his flag-draped casket and pay their respects. Ashley Burke spoke to some about their memories of this country's 18th prime minister.
A former prime minister on a final journey to the nation's capital. A chance for Canadians to say goodbye to Brian Mulroney as he lies in state near Parliament Hill. His wife Mila, daughter Caroline, and 3 sons Nicholas, Ben, and Mark greeting Governors General present and past.
Somber, sad, but inspired by a man who has left such an example for all of us to follow.
Michaëlle Jean shared what she said during this final farewell.
That my heart is with him. I said to him that he meant a lot to me in difficult times.
All day, the family met dignitaries, diplomats, politicians, and the public, who lined up in the cold to pay tribute to Canada's 18th Prime Minister, some with personal stories and mementos.
Well, something I found in my jewelry box. It's been there for quite a bit of time. I think since 1993. It's my pass to get into the Prime Minister's press office where I worked.
Robin Averill showed Mila Mulroney a picture on his phone of him with Mulroney decades ago. Averill sang for the Prime Minister at special events. The two even shared a microphone.
Oh, he was great. He used to love to get up on stage with me and sing. And this, of course, you all know what his favorite song was When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring.
Ali Brown says she wasn't a supporter of Mulroney during his time in office, but now has come to appreciate what he did for Canada.
Today he's a hero. I wasn't too sure I felt that way at the time. So, Mr. Mulroney, rest in peace.
Mulroney will continue to lie in state until Wednesday afternoon. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
A state funeral for Mulroney will take place this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern at the famous Notre Dame Basilica in Montreal. That's also where Pierre Elliott Trudeau's funeral was held in 2000 and where Justin Trudeau gave a eulogy for his father. He'll do so again on Saturday for Mulroney. His daughter Caroline will also speak, along with Quebec businessman Pierre-Carl Pelledeau and retired hockey star Wayne Gretzky. Orchestral and choral music will be heavily featured, with performances from the tenors and Mulroney's granddaughter Elizabeth. The ceremony will conclude with a 19-gun salute from the Old Port of Montreal. CBC News Network and CBC Television will broadcast the state funeral for Brian Mulroney on Saturday. Our coverage begins at 9 a.m. Eastern, hosted by CBC's chief political correspondent, Rosemary Barton. In Hong Kong, pro-Beijing legislators are defending a new national security law tonight. Critics say it further erodes freedoms and cracks down on dissent.
You can see other countries do everything to protect their national security. And why can't we protect our national security?
The law passed unanimously in Hong Kong's Legislative Council. Treason and insurrection are now punishable by life sentence, with stiffer penalties for espionage and theft of state secrets. Video has emerged that could put a persistent question to rest. Where is Kate?
People are likely to question every single behaviour that comes from the royal family moving forward.
Will it put an end to all the rumors? That's coming up. Plus, looking for a home in Canada's most expensive rental market.
It's almost a full-time job looking for a place.
What renters are up against.
Plus, here in Doha, some of the most seriously wounded are getting treatment far from the horrors of the war in Gaza. We were given rare access to an evacuation flight bringing patients here to Qatar. It's hard to process what they've all been through, to survive their injuries, to be able to get out of Gaza. Their difficult journey a little later. We're back in 2.
Canada's annual inflation rate dropped again last month, falling slightly to 2.8% in February. That's down from January and lower than what many economists expected. Cell phone and internet plans and groceries were among the expenses that helped bring the February rate down. Rent and mortgage interest costs are primary drivers of Canada's inflation. In BC, renters face the highest rates in the country. And as Yvette Bren shows us, for some, finding a place to live has become like a second job.
In this freezer, I believe we have 7 or 6 of them now.
Hudson and Jackson Forsyth Beck sold pickles and produce they grew in the front yard of the rental home that they're now about to lose. Their family has been evicted.
We eventually had a flow of customers, and they just kept coming and coming. We just got bigger and bigger.
If anybody has any solutions.
Their dad posted a video begging for freezer space to save all this food while he hunts for a new family home.
It's almost a full-time job looking for a place. We don't have the room to store it. What are we going to do?
Dozens of applications later, he's left in line with 100 others to pay double or triple his current rent.
I've been pretty stressed and worried.
Housing experts say this family isn't alone. In the past 2 years in Canada, rent rose an average of $384 a month. Metro Vancouver had the country's highest average monthly rent for a one-bedroom in February at $2,653.
It breaks my heart to hear, I have to advertise to see if someone will welcome me into their rental and let me pay an exorbitant amount of money for a one-bedroom. A younger demographic is working hard, and their hard work isn't paying off like it used to.
People desperate to find rentals are posting pleas.
You need to stand out of the crowd. I just want to try different ways to get attraction, like a spotlight on us.
It starts to make a lot
Skyrocketing rental rates don't help.
The competition is stiff. There's a lot of competition.
The irony isn't lost on this custom home builder that he's creating homes and can't even find a rental he can afford.
You know, sometimes I struggle with what I'm doing for work. Am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? But, you know, you have to make money to survive.
A moment of peace before it's back to the grind of finding shelter. Yvette Bren, CBC News, Vancouver.
New video obtained by a British tabloid appears to show Princess Kate out shopping with her husband William.
She's healthy and hopefully back serving us as we hope she will be soon.
But will it put the royal controversy to rest? That's next.
Plus, I'll be back from Doha, where some of Gaza's most seriously wounded have been brought for treatment. We'll take you on a packed evacuation flight with the injured, many of them kids. The world these people have just come from is one of chaos and mayhem and violence. Rare access to a medical airlift. And he is a terrorist to some, locked up in an Israeli prison. But to others, he's a moderate Palestinian voice who could help on the path to peace. Marwan Barghouti and the growing calls for his release. The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next.
In the UK, the Princess of Wales was spotted and filmed in public this weekend. The outing comes as speculation of her whereabouts swirls online. But as Chris Brown shows us, the new video hasn't stopped the royal rumor mill.
Prince William, one half of the world's currently most gossiped about royal couple, was out on his own Tuesday at an official engagement in Sheffield. But his wife Catherine remained out of sight, recovering from abdominal surgery as a media delirium swirled around her. This video, published by the Sun newspaper of the couple grocery shopping over the weekend, was the first time Kate had been filmed in public in nearly 3 months.
Now let's dish the hot goss. I am ready to spill the tea.
Over that time, her private life has been picked apart online and in the media, with wild, unsubstantiated theories about her marriage and her health, with Kensington Palace saying little or nothing in her defense.
The thing is, media has changed.
This public relations specialist says when they have responded to the frenzy, it's backfired spectacularly, such as with the now infamously doctored Mother's Day photo.
I think it's really damaging to their reputation. People are likely to question every single behaviour that comes from the royal family moving forward.
That image, which was withdrawn by major news agencies, had been adjusted using Photoshop by Kate herself. That prompted photo editors to look back at other stills released by Kensington Palace to see if they were doctored too, and found this one was.
We were not used to question what would come out from Kensington Palace. But since last Sunday, we had to change that position.
In London, many seemed happy, even relieved to see Kate back on the front page again.
She's healthy and hopefully back serving us as we hope she will be soon.
Kate is supposed to return to her royal duties alongside William after Easter, and maybe only then will the speculation finally be put to rest. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Now, let's dig deeper into our top story tonight. Fragile hope for a pause in the Israel-Hamas war and all the efforts to help the people under siege. This is the breakdown. The fate of so many could rest on the outcome of ongoing negotiations here in Doha. A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas would be a life changer for the displaced and desperate people of Gaza, as well as Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners. There's one notorious prisoner who some say could lead Palestinians to peace with Israel.
My father is, a unifying figure for the Palestinian people.
But first, their war wounds are bad enough that they are getting out of Gaza on a medical airlift that can echo the turmoil they leave behind.
This one collapsed because they remember the attacks when they were in Gaza.
It's hard to process what they've all been through. Their destination, a place with a promise to help them heal. So, get ready for takeoff.
Jason, tell me when your team is ready here. We are calling the patient. Khalas. Bismillah.
On a tarmac in Egypt near Gaza, the ride out of the war zone has arrived. The worst they've endured starts to get better right here. Even if it all still hurts. 24 of the severely wounded and their families, so many of them kids, on their way to hospital in Qatar for advanced care. And the legs of 11-year-old Yahman Mahmoud Sharif with a fractured skull really needed. Everyone transferred right into the belly of a C-17, into what's effectively a flying emergency room for the 3-hour trip to Doha. It's a little hard to process what they've all been through. Imagine to survive their injuries, to then be able to get out of Gaza, to then get on a list, to get on a flight like this one. There is relief in all of that, but also a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear. What happens after they leave hospital? What will life be like? And crucially, will they ever be going back to Gaza? They've left so many behind. Yahman's mom, Sabrine, says her husband was stopped at the border with Egypt.
Now she's alone with them, and his husband, he cannot enter here to the Egypt. They don't allow the man to cross the border. Only they want women only.
She could use some help because he's in trouble. The doctors say cranial bleeding is making him erratic, anxious. Not much, it seems, can console him.
And there is blood is inside. And now, he don't know what he's doing.
So he has a skull fracture?
He was under
the rubble?
Yes.
Yahman was at home when an airstrike hit, collapsing the building on him. So agitated, they give him some light sedation. Fairly sure he'll have to head into surgery as soon as they land. Lots of concerned faces here, and maybe not just because of what's happened, but this whole experience. Imagine never having left Gaza, never having been on a plane before, and then being here. Dr. Jalal Al-Asai heads this operation. He recognizes the shaking and the noise here can sometimes be rough.
But for them, it's like, remind them about the situation there in Gaza because it's noisy and it causes a lot of noise. We had cases who, after they hear the takeoff sound of this one, collapsed because they remember the attacks during when they were in Gaza. So I believe they really remember what happened there when they hear the voice because it's very noisy.
No wonder some were terrified. And a few, like this woman who'd been able to sit at the beginning, ended up dizzy and unconscious. Hard to know what she endured before getting on this flight. While they work on her, her grandchild is in the arms of the Qatari Red Crescent. Part of caring is lightening the mood. It's Ramadan. We take off just as it's time to break the fast. so there's food and treats and a lot more smiles. One of the most remarkable smiles belongs to the very sunny 9-year-old Mahmoud Mohammed. Mahmoud, what do you want to do when you grow up? Did you catch what he said there? Sulhafi, he said. Journalist. He wants to be a journalist.
Yeah. He wants to be like you, and he wants to be a football player also.
Oh.
Yes.
Are you good at football?
هل انت شاطر في الكورة؟
كتير.
Yes.
كنت ألعبها.
Yes. Very good. Excellent. Perfect.
Who's your favorite player?
من لاعبك المفضل؟
محمد صلاح.
محمد صلاح.
Mahmoud's mom Noor are quick to offer pictures of better days.
This is his favorite food. مقلوبة. Yes, call this one مقلوبة. Yeah.
Yum. All that before the terrible December day when he was hit in an airstrike. Mahmoud lost both his arms.
His life become too much hard now.
In Doha, he'll get 2 prosthetics. He knows the plan and he's excited. What will he do when he has his arms?
ويوم تركب هالعيادة إن شاء الله. كيف تحس نفسك بتكون جميل وحلو يعني؟
كتير.
Yes.
ألعب كورة وأمسك كورة.
Yes, he can call the ball, he can play football, everything. Wow, ما شاء الله محمود.
Perfect. If this team looks like they have it all in hand, it's because this is the 19th medical evacuation flight sponsored by Qatar. The Emir has vowed to care for 1,500 wounded Palestinians. Accommodation built for the World Cup is being offered to them. The exhaustion on this plane is worn on all these faces and not just those of the patients. This war takes a toll on everyone, medical staff included. The world these people have just come from is one of chaos and mayhem and violence, and they may not realize it, but once they arrive in Doha, each person here has been assigned a medical, social, and psychological team to help them get through what's ahead. As they near the end of the flight, the relief of the team is real. Everyone on board is stable. With the hugs come sprigs of basil, something fresh and fragrant. More toys, a bit more last-minute care, and a welcome to Qatar. It's kind, but imagine just how bewildering all of this must be. So our team reached out tonight to Mahmoud and his mom. They've been here less than 24 hours, but they've already seen a cosmetic surgeon, a prosthetic specialist, and a therapist. And apparently the therapist is thrilled, says Mahmoud is genuinely happy and okay, and is ready for what's coming. And we are going to keep checking in with these kids as best we can. Coming up, with negotiations on a potential hostage for prisoner exchange, a high-profile Palestinian prisoner is getting more attention.
It will be a mistake on the side of Israel not to release him.
Margaret Evans looks at the man many see as the moderate voice needed right now. That is next on The Breakdown. Here in Doha, the Qatari government is moderating talks towards a possible ceasefire in Gaza. Key to that would be the negotiated release of Israeli hostages and Palestinians in prison. A lot may be riding on the fate of one particular prisoner, a Palestinian leader serving 5 life sentences on terrorism charges. Marwan Barghouti is remarkably popular among Palestinians.
The most popular. There is nobody who is close to him.
Some say he could be an influential voice for peace, but Israeli hardliners are loath to release him.
He was involved in giving awful orders.
Margaret Evans breaks down that dilemma.
Etched on concrete walls, Marwan Barghouti's face is one of the first things you see crossing the main Israeli checkpoint between Jerusalem and Ramallah. The image is coated with the smoke and tear gas of countless demonstrations against the Israeli occupation. But his name hasn't faded. And after 22 years and counting in an Israeli jail, Barghouti remains the most popular Palestinian leader there is. With decimation in Gaza and uncertainty over its future, calls for his release in some quarters are growing. His son Arab believes he'll be home soon.
I'm very confident and very positive that my father will be released. And I can feel that it will happen as soon as possible, hopefully.
That's because Hamas and Israel are trying to negotiate another prisoner exchange. Last November, hundreds of Palestinians were released from Israeli jails in exchange for some of the hostages taken by Hamas during its murderous rampage through Israeli border towns on October 7th. Even though Barghouti is associated with the rival Fatah faction heading the Palestinian Authority, Hamas has put Barghouti's name on its list. Arab says it's testimony to his father's unifying appeal and why Israel would be wise to release him.
If any Israeli leader really wants an end for this and peace for the region on the long term, they would see that my father is someone that would bring that. He's someone who still believes in the tiny chance that's left for the two-state solution.
It would be a hard ask for Israelis who see him as a terrorist with blood on his hands, charged with ordering a series of killings and suicide bombings in the Second Intifada, eventually sentenced to 5 life terms in 2004.
Everybody in this world knows that Marwan Barghouti is fighting for peace. I am a peaceman.
Barghouti denied the allegations against him, saying he doesn't condone attacks against civilians, but he's never renounced violence as a means of resisting the occupation. In the 1990s, he was an important proponent of the Oslo peace process, setting out a path to a two-state solution. It was backed by then-Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. But a Palestinian state never arrived. Those who know him say it led to disillusionment.
He was involved in giving awful orders. He changed his mind because he thought maybe we are not going for peace and we need to do something which will be a kind of an earthquake, which was the Second Intifada in 2000. It was a huge mistake on his side.
Yossi Beilin is one of Oslo's Israeli architects. He still believes Barghouti offers Israelis and Palestinians a chance at coexistence.
Marwan Barghouti is the most popular Palestinian leader today. The most popular. There is nobody who is close to him. And it will be a mistake on the side of Israel not to release him.
Not only him, but all other political leaders like Ahmad Saadat and others. These are political leaders. They're not terrorists. They're freedom fighters.
Mustafa Barghouti, a distant cousin of Marwan and an experienced Palestinian politician, cautions against any tendency to seek lone saviors.
We need unified leadership. Marwan can play a very important role in pushing in that direction. And then we need democratic elections,
which there haven't been in 17 years. It is perhaps not insignificant that the Free Barghouti campaign offices sit opposite the PA headquarters in Ramallah. But Arab says he thinks more of his longing as a son.
If it was for me, I would be selfish and I would tell you that I want them all for me and for my family. I think that it's not fair that my father has never met any of his grandchildren.
But he also believes his father has an important role to play in helping the Palestinian people achieve their freedom.
My father is, a unifying figure for the Palestinian people, and this is his main strength and why the people still love him and still believe in him.
So, Margaret, in the event a ceasefire deal can actually be reached, how likely is Marwan Barghouti's release?
Well, you know, Hamas has asked for his release in the past, including back in 2011. I'm sure you might remember the negotiations for the release of an Israeli soldier, Gilad Shalit. Israel didn't allow that to happen. They asked again in November of last year to have him released. Didn't happen. You have to remember the nature of the current government as well. The hard right national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, is in charge of the prisons. Last month, he had Barghouti placed in solitary confinement or isolation. He accused him of planning an uprising, something he denies, his family denies. His family's really quite worried about him. And when it comes down to the actual negotiations about names on lists, he's considered someone with blood on his hands for Israelis. And because he's such a big name, it's likely that they would deal with him in the very final stages of negotiations. One more thing to point out is in those 2011 negotiations that I was talking about, one of the hostages or one of the prisoners that Israel did release was Yahya Sinwar, who of course went on to become one of the Hamas leaders who actually planned the October 7th attacks while Marwan Barghouti was left in jail.
All right, Margaret Evans in Jerusalem tonight. Thank you. That is it for us from here in Qatar and other parts of the region. So now let's send it back to Asha in Toronto.
Thanks, Adrian. Well, our moment is coming up.
20.4 grams. There it is, people.
Yep, a record-setting blueberry. That's next.
The National.
Thanks for joining us.
Canada's most nominated news program at the Canadian Screen Awards. Best news or information program.
Ukraine doesn't want to give this up.
Best talk series.
You talk a lot about the importance of being a refugee.
Best anchor.
We are back in Port-au-Basque.
Best host. And best national newscast.
An extraordinary moment for this country.
You've taken every stage.
CBC News, The National.
Border Patrol agents noticed that there was a white pickup.
Live and on demand.
Okay, that is not a camera trick. This blueberry has shattered the Guinness World Record for the world's heaviest blueberry. It was grown in Corindi, Australia, and weighs about 20 grams. Tonight, the blueberry that's breaking records is our moment.
Here we go.
It's quite a thing to behold.
20.4 grams. There it is, people.
It was a pretty exciting moment for our team. We weren't trying to grow specifically the largest fruit. It was my idea to take this to the Guinness World Records. So it weighed in at 20.4 grams. It's approximately the size of a table tennis ball. The official title is World's Heaviest Blueberry. So a regular blueberry would generally weigh between 1 and 3 grams. So this is really a significant step up on that. So this was all naturally bred. We had a nice spring and winter where we had high light levels and low rainfall, and we're managing them with really precise inputs of water and fertilizer. This variety tastes fantastic all year round. Strong blueberry aromatics, a nice sugar to acid balance, and a really firm, crisp crunch when you bite into it.
Unbelievable. If you are wondering what happened to that big blueberry, it is still frozen for one, and they're now throwing around ideas about what to do with it. One of the suggestions includes mounting it on a wall like a trophy. Not totally sure how that's going to work, but we will make sure to keep you all posted. For all of us here at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Asha Tomlinson. Take care.